Hello everyone, I welcome you all in another session of Anjan tutorials. As you all know that we have already discussed about the Greco-Roman period and today we will discuss the Old English period, who are the important authors of Old English period and what are the important works they have been written in Old English period and what are the genres that were invented in Old English period, and all of them we will discuss in our today's session. So without further delay, let's begin the session. You all know that Old English period started in 7th century and ended in 11th century with the Norman conquest in 1066, and it was Old English period in which there were basically three types. These tribes are Anglo-Saxons and Jutes, and these three types developed the Old English and trans into the Old English into modern English. And there were basically four dialects in the Old English periods, which are Kentish, Mercian, Northumbrian, and West Saxons. And it is Old English which developed chronologically and turns into modern English after long period of time. And in the Old English period begins with the King Arthur and his legends. King Arthur was lived in 5th to 6th century, was a legendary figure in Britain, and he is the hero of many folk stories, and it is Geoffrey Monmouth who introduced King Arthur and his legend in his work the Historia Regum Britannia. And he also talked about King Arthur's and his legends through the stories of his father, King Uther Pendragon, his magician, the Merlin, Arthur's wives Guinevere, and Arthur's sword Excalibur, and Arthur's final battle with Mordred at Camelon, final rest and Avalon, and it was Christian de Troyes in 12th century who introduced King Arthur and his 12 knights, which is known as the Round Table of King Arthur. And there was also stories of Guinevere and his affair with Lancelot, which is introduced in later time period. There are many adaptations of King Arthur's stories like Morte d'Arthurs by Thomas Malory and Christum and Lioness by Matthew Arnold and Walter Scott's Marmion. These are the modern adaptation of King Arthur's story. After King Arthur's come, the most important work of Old English period is Beowulf. Beowulf is an Old English poem which is written in Germanic heroic legend, and it is written in Scandinavian stories. Beowulf is the greatest hero who came to the Danes, the King Hrothgar, when his mead was attacked by Grendel, and it was Beowulf who fought with Grendel and killed him. When Grendel is killed, his mother came to take revenge on Beowulf. Beowulf also kills her, and later when Beowulf was fighting one battle, he was mortally wounded and died. After and there was some modern adaptations of Beowulf like J.R.R. Tolkien's Beowulf the Monster and the Critic in 1896, Seamus Heaney's Beowulf, a new verse translation in 1999, and there was also one adaptation of Beowulf which is Kevin Kiernan's The Electronic Beowulf. After Beowulf comes Caedmon. Caedmon, who lived in 657 century to 684 century AD, and it was Caedmon who is known as father of Old English poetry. And his life is known from the work of Venerable Bede's Ecclesiastical History of the English Race, which is published in 731 AD. After Caedmon comes Cynewulf. Cynewulf is also important poets of Old English poetry. he basically wrote four poetry in Old English time period, which are the fates of the apostles, Juliana, Eleni, and Christ too. And these are the most important poets of Old English poetry. After comes them Venerable Bede. Venerable Bede, who is known as the father of Old English history, and he has written the most famous work, the Ecclesiastical History of English Race, through which he talks about different English races and their reigns in this work. After Venerable Bede comes King Alfred the Great. King Alfred the Great, who lived in 849 to 899 AD, who was the king of West Saxon and who fought in many battles and divided the kingdom of England into two parts, which is Anglo-Saxon territory divided into two parts, and these two parts are divided between Anglo-Saxons and Danes, and those areas are ruled by Scandinavian known as Danes law. After King Alfred comes Alferic of Ancient. Alferic of Ancient wrote various poetries, hagiographies, and different other homilies. And it is hagiography which is the deals with the life of saints and martyrs. And these are and it was Peter Blair who commented on him and said that Alfric of Ensign was a man compared both the quality of his writing and the quality of the mind even in the bed himself. According to Claudio Leonardi, he represented the highest pinnacle of Benedictine reform and Anglo-Saxon literature. And these are the most important major authors of Old English poetry which have been frequently asked in CUET-PG exams. So those of you are preparing for CUET-PG 2026 exam, please like, share and subscribe our channel to get more UGC NET or CUET-PG related videos and study materials. Thank you everyone for watching this video.